Welcome everyone back to Sports Talk with Krish. It is one of the best times of the calendar year. It is March, and which March comes the madness. I'm Sports Talk with Krish alongside Marcus Trevetti, and we are going to go through the 68-team bracket March Madness that just released for the 2025 Men's NCAA Tournament. So Marcus, what are you expecting from it this year?
What's up, guys? I'm just expecting madness as usual. I got to be honest. I think it's going to play out better than the past 2 years. Like, I don't think there's a clear outlier team that's so much better than another that's better than the rest, like last year with UConn. And I don't think there's going to be a situation where we don't have any 1 seeds in the Elite Eight like last year. But I do expect, and honestly, like the games, like were not that too great last year in general, like leading up to the Final Four as well. But I expect much better games this year. I think there's a lot more better mid-majors than there were last year. Like, I feel like the hype from last year's mid-majors is actually the hype that's deserved for this year's mid-majors. But I think it's just going to be complete chaos and fun, especially this South region. This South region is like stacked.
We're gonna start in the South region, the number 1 overall seed. I would say, obviously, you see the Duke shirt. A little controversial, number 1 overall seed. The Auburn Tigers have a couple of losses here in March. Actually, they started off March 0-2. I wasn't even surprised. And, I mean, South region looks fun. It looks like there can be some upsets in here. But we'll start with Auburn's matchup. I think we have to it'll be more than likely, I think, all 1 seeds in agreement will advance to the second round at least. Marcus, I'm going to take Auburn here.
I agree.
All right, so we have the Tigers. That is our first move to the second round. And now the 8-9. So I just saw a stat earlier that the 9 seeds have gotten it over the 8. This is a really good 8-9 matchup. I really like this. Louisville coming off an ACC championship appearance. Creighton has Kalkbrenner, some good experience on that team as well. So who would you take in this 8-9 matchup?
I feel like actually this is the only 8-9 matchup that's not too hard to pick. I mean, Creighton's a good team. They were the number 2 seed in the Big East, but I think Louisville has just been a really strong team, especially that the performance they put up in non-conference play this year, earlier in the season when they were, I forget the tournament, but the tournament they were in with Alabama and Houston, the one in Vegas, forget the specific name of it. But I think it's actually I think March Madness, the brand itself, hosts that tournament as well. But they went pretty far. I believe they went to, they were the last 4 teams standing in that, around that category. But I definitely think Louisville's got this one in the bag, especially being in the ACC championship last night.
Yeah, and I mean, they did put up a good fight. Obviously, Duke without Cooper Flag. An unfortunate loss. I really like Chucky Hepburn on Louisville. He actually had the first 3 baskets for the Cardinals in that game, has kind of been their leader all season. And I think a crazier thing to look at it is, look at where Louisville was last season. They were, I think, the worst team in the ACC last year. Now that it's proclaimed to Miami, look how things changed. And Louisville has gone from that to, I think they're a little bit underseeded. I think they should be a lot higher than an 8 seed personally. But they get the bid at the 8 seed. They get to the ACC championship game. Well deserved. I'm going to take Louisville as well.
Yeah. Speaking of worst team in Power 4, leads right into Michigan, who completely flipped the script. Worst team in the Big Ten, struck for gold and got it in the transfer portal. And with that, they also got Dusty May from FAU as their head coach, who's just been phenomenal, one of the better leaders in college basketball. But they got a tough task against UC San Diego. But now Big Ten championships, a high horse that they're riding off of. I got Michigan personally. I think it'll be a very good game. And this will go either way for bracket pickers who actually watch the game and aren't just like, oh, Michigan, I know that school, check. But I'll take Michigan here. I think they got this one.
I was actually watching UC San Diego, I believe, last night. I was kind of watching all those conference championship games, and I have to say, this team can not only play offense, but they can play some really good defense. And I think they are a true sleeper team. I do believe that. I think an advantage they already have coming into this game is This game is played on Thursday, and Michigan just played today. Like, or actually, a couple hours ago, Michigan just and great win for them. They just won the Big Ten championship, but they have the least rest out of anybody in this tournament. Them and Wisconsin are already at disadvantage, and you're gonna throw them out there to play on Thursday. Yes, of course, that's not. I mean, college basketball, you usually have a couple of days, right? But that's already. I mean, they had to play all those days already, conference tournament, and you're throwing them in there at the earliest times. A lot more teams are going to be prepared, and I do think UC San Diego is a solid team. I think they can make a solid case for this game. But you know what? We'll keep the hype down. We'll keep it a little bit low right now. We'll take Dusty May in his first season at Michigan, former Florida Atlantic coach, to advance to the second round. And now we have Texas A&M and the Ivy League school Yale.
I think this is one of the first upsets we have here. I think Yale actually gets it done. I mean, I know they don't have Danny Wolf now, but they just won the. I mean, they're also coming off low or I believe this game's what, Friday? It's gonna be on Friday.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're obviously getting a little bit more rest than Michigan, but Yale's coming off the Ivy League tournament win today, beating Cornell. And I mean, looking at their players, they got, let's see, they have 1, 2, 3, 3, which is still good. They have 3 guys who average more than 10 points a game. I think Cornell has a little bit higher. That's what I was looking at the last night. But still, I mean, they got John Polakidis, fun Greek name right there. He's averaging 19 a game, which is 53rd in the country, so he should be a problem against Texas A&M. And like, to be honest, looking at it from a complete perspective, Texas A&M doesn't have they do have a really good defense, but when push comes to shove, Yale's also averaging 82 a game. So right. And they did just put up 90 in the Ivy League championship. So I think this is an upset that Yale has here.
Okay, we will go with Yale. So that means Wade Taylor and the Aggies get knocked out in the first round. A little bit of a surprise there. And then now we go a little bit lower here. Our very first 4 matchup, San Diego State, and a team that shouldn't be in March Madness, it's Carolina. And the winner of that game on Tuesday will play Ole Miss in the actual tournament, the first round.
I mean, to feed the bias, you're making the Duke symbol a little bit more clear there on your shirt. As you said that, like you rose up a little bit more from your chair. But to feed the bias, I completely agree with you. Indiana should be in the tournament, not Carolina. Carolina plays in a very extremely weak ACC this year. And they did not perform well whatsoever for their standards. And I think IU is actually a decent team. They could have made a little bit of noise, like as in like being a second round team. But I think Ole Miss has this one pretty easily. I think Ole Miss is, personally, I think they have a good shot at going to the Elite Eight in this region. I just feel.
All right. So this is the second SEC school to advance, knocking out San Diego State or North Carolina. Now we move down a little bit more. We have a Big 12 team in Iowa State against Lipscomb.
Now, here's the problem for Iowa State. They're missing key pieces right now, like Lipsy and Keyshawn Gilbert. And I mean, Taman Lipsy, he was healthy, but he went down in that first game that they had in the Big 12 conference tournament. But here's the other thing. I mean, I was high on Iowa State, like I'd say probably, at the start of the season. Once they lost to Auburn, I got even higher because, it was a bad loss, but I knew that Auburn was good at that point, like easily the best team in the country by that point. And I mean, they kept it clearly to the voters and to the March Madness committee, to the selection committee now. But at that same time, Iowa State barely lost to Auburn, which I think would have boosted them in the rankings too, and the committee's opinion on them as well, and probably put them in a different region. So, I mean, a Janai Broom layup to win that game in Hawaii and Honolulu, if that layup didn't happen, if it was blocked, if it didn't go in, this could have been a whole different story. But here's the main thing about Iowa State. Sorry for rambling a little bit. Curtis Jones, I think, is the huge piece. I think he's going to play a big factor in this tournament. So I got Iowa State for this one.
All right, the Cyclones advance. Now we have Marquette and New Mexico.
Who do you have for this one?
Well, no more Tyler Coley. They'll say that first and
Yeah,
foremost. Um,
I have New Mexico. I think they
I
can.
I do too because Shaka Smart still hasn't proven to me that he can do anything. Well, I mean, even last year, proved to us. They lost to NC State, I believe. Proved to us that um, his team cannot. They underperform in March.
Yeah,
He's proven that over and over again. So I think just with that right there and not having the confidence that I should have in a team like Marquette, a Big East team, I'm going to go with New Mexico.
yeah,
I'm going to go
I
with the
agree.
Lobos. And now the
I agree.
last team from this region, or the last game from this region in the first round is Michigan State versus Bryant. I get the noise. Okay, the 215. I'm going Michigan State. Michigan State's still a very good team.
Yeah, I mean, this would be like one of those fairy tale March Madness ones that people talk about. This is why March Madness is one of the greatest American or worldwide sporting events or tournaments. But like these exact reasons why amazing Michigan State team would get upset by Bryant, I just don't think it's gonna happen. Give me
We'll
the
go with
Spartans.
Michigan State. Now we're going to move down to this West region where I have a team that could go on some sort of a championship run. I think this is a very serious contender here in this West region and in the entire bracket. The Florida Gators, very, very good team, take on 16 seed in Norfolk State.
100%. I mean, if you look at it at the college basketball nerds perspective, uh, which me and Krish both are, Florida probably looks like the best team in the country at this exact moment and second right now.
Yep.
And I'm considering that, saying no what ifs. We're talking about right now, this second, Florida is the best country or best team in the country. And that's because Duke doesn't have Cooper Flag right now. Obviously, they'll have him for the
Right.
tournament, but we don't know if he'll be 100% healthy this tournament.
Right.
Auburn has lost 3 of their past 4 games, and Florida just won the SEC, which has been an which has been literally just stated over and over again as one of the most gruesome and challenging conferences in all of Power 4 history for basketball this year specifically. I mean, people were saying this that possibly that the Florida, Tennessee, Auburn, and Alabama Final Four in the SEC tournament could be better than the actual Final Four in March Madness, or it could be that exact Final Four.
Right.
So yeah, definitely Florida beats
And
Norfolk.
it definitely puts Florida into the second round. And then an interesting, so the 8 seeded UConn Huskies are back to back national champions. We also got a solid Oklahoma team. I get all the stuff of UConn is not the same. Yes, they are not the same this season. And there's a lot of players that are about to hit the transfer portal with the Huskies. I think Dan Hurley should have definitely taken that Lakers job that was offered to him, but it's his problem now. I still think they win this game though. What about you?
Here's the thing. Oklahoma is a great team. They're a sneaky team in the SEC, and Jeremiah Fears definitely has potential. Jeremiah Fears, right? I get them mixed up. He doesn't have a twin or a brother, I don't think, but I think he's related to Jeremy Fears on Michigan State. Either way, and Jeremy Fears has another brother. I saw them like at the high school that's closest to me back there, Bennett Academy, who actually just won the state championship, by the way, for Illinois. Like a couple years ago, he was on Joliet West. Jeremy Fears on Michigan State. But here's the thing: Jeremiah Fears could be great throughout the tournament. He has potential to be that guard that steps up, as that's the renowned thing in March Madness. Guard play. He has a chance to be one of those faces of guard play this year. But at the end of the day, my heart just tells me don't go against Dan Hurley. And that can't go against him. It's hard to pick against him. Yeah, two rings.
We'll go UConn to the second. That's actually gonna be a fun ratings wise, a fun game with Florida UConn.
Yeah.
Now we have the AAC champions, the Memphis Tigers against Colorado State. I think Memphis once again really solid team. They've been in the top 25 for a good portion of this season. I don't know how you can go against them right here.
I agree. Colorado State's definitely a team that, like, ooh, yeah, that's a good mid-major to follow, but Give me Memphis.
And now we have Maryland versus Grand Canyon. I've seen a lot about Maryland being a really solid team this season. I don't know much about Grand Canyon. So I'm not sure if there is something sneaky about them, if they are really good offense, defense, something that can put them over the edge in this game. But personally, I would go.
Here's the thing about Grand Canyon, that they're 9-1 in their past games, and their one loss came from an overtime loss. Maryland's 7-3, but I feel like it's hard to look at that statistic too, because those games that they've lost in their past 10 have been from buzzer beaters and last second shots.
And then also the SOS. I mean, it's
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Grand Canyon's definitely proved that they're a prominent mid-major in March Madness, and they'll be here for a bit. I just don't think they get it done first round this year. I mean, they were a huge mid-major upset, shock the world team last year, and they applaud to them. They exceeded those expectations. They got to like the Sweet 16 second round. It's good. Yeah. So, and whether or not, whatever last game they played, they put up a good fight. So definitely give me Maryland here though, because I think it's just a different culture there in College Park this year.
And I have seen a ton of people talk about the university, not the Raptors. Drake against Missouri. I mean, I think I'm buying into the hype at this point. I just copped the Duke OVO shirt that's going to be on the way. So, I'm rooting for Duke and Drake. So, who do you have here?
Yeah, well, so 36% user pick for Drake right now, which is fairly high for 6-11, considering we're, an hour into when the bracket was released.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the full bracket release. Yep.
Yeah, so give me Drake. Yeah. They're a really good team come March.
Yeah, we'll go Drake. Now we have Texas Tech versus UNC Wilmington. UNC Wilmington not been here in a while actually, but solid team when they do make it to March. And I think this is still Texas Tech's game to lose.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about UNC Wilmington, about how they could be a good upset team. I'm sorry, I don't see it this year. Texas Tech, JT Toppin, who I think is probably one of the top 3 players in the SEC. Mm-hmm. They're going to be scary in this tournament, to say the least.
All right, now the last 2 matchups here in the first round of this region. 2 very underwhelming and disappointing teams, actually. Kansas and Arkansas. Kansas was the number 1 team. Actually, they beat Duke this season. Kansas the number 1 team in the country. And Arkansas, John Calipari, the famous Kentucky coach, moving over to Arkansas, find themselves in a 7-10 game. I don't know who would have thought of that.
Yeah, so for sure.
Very disappointing teams.
So here's the thing. Kansas, obviously, the preseason AP won. That did not turn out in their favor. They ended the season not even being ranked in the AP top 25 in the last poll, or the last 2 polls, I think, or maybe 3, I don't know. But it was bad, that last road of the season. So they're cold right now, too, keep in mind. I think they were, before they didn't even get a top 4 bye in the Big 12, which is almost unheard of. And as for Arkansas, like you said, Coach Cal, legendary coach, famous for the one and dones. And I'm going to have to pick Arkansas because one of those one and dones, Boogie Flan, he's coming back. I want to see what he can do. And I believe in him full-heartedly. I don't think that Kansas defense is standing a chance against a Boogie Flan-led Arkansas offense.
I mean, I definitely like the take there. I just feel as if Kansas still has not a lot, but some of that championship experience from 2022 when they won against Carolina. I think Hunter Dickinson is obviously very experienced. I mean, he's a very experienced player from Michigan. Maybe should have just stayed at the Wolverines at this point. But very experienced player. And I feel like Calipari is technically known as an inexperienced coach for this year because this is year 1 at a different place.
Not even that. He's known as a choker in March.
Correct. And
not his whole career, not his whole career, obviously, but
this recent history has given the one and done signal. And I'm not going to say, I mean, Kansas was still the number one team in the country. They still have good wins, even if they were back in November against Duke. I would take the Jayhawks.
Yeah, I'd say in the 2020s, Coach Cal has been known as a choker.
Right.
So it seems like as the game is growing, as he's getting older, he's not growing with the game. He's taking steps back. But I still got him purely just off the Boogie Flan hype that he's coming back. Regardless if he's 100% healthy or not, his shooting should be a major impact in this game. But it's going to be a really, really fun game. I'll say that.
I'll definitely be tuning into this one. So we're going to go with Kansas for the sake of the argument. And then now, how about St. John's, man?
Oh my God.
I kind of like, I'm messed with this team. They're going to take on Omaha.
I mess with them too, but I know in some way, shape, or form they are cheating, knowing Rick Pitino. But like, it's pretty hard to cheat nowadays, especially with that you are literally openly allowed to pay players to come to your university through NIL, and money talks as a force of college sports and the transfer portal too. But there's 100% ways that Rick Pitino is still finding ways to cheat the system. But I love this St. John's team as it is right now. Maybe not in like 3 years when I figure out whatever allegation they're pulling off. I won't. But
I think for now,
I like them, and I like them a lot in this game. Yeah.
All right. St. John's it is. We move over to the East region. These games will be played in Raleigh at the top. Duke versus either American or Mount St. Mary's. Give it up.
I'll take American / the Mount St. Mary's just for the fun of it.
All right, no statements need to be made there. Mississippi State versus Baylor. I was actually watching Selection Sunday with my dad. Obviously, both of us big Duke fans. So to see that this 8-9 matchup and our possible second round game could be played against former full-year Duke player Jeremy Roach, and obviously DJ Edgecombe. More for Jeremy Roach. That alone just makes me really want to play Baylor. I also personally do think Baylor has the advantage in this game. Edgecombe projected to be a top 5 pick in the NBA draft. Very, very experienced guard in Jeremy Roach. He has been to the Final Four before. And I think experience, let alone with talent, will lead Baylor over Mississippi State.
Yeah, I think this 100% is going to be that classic, Duke is the best team in the country right now versus upcoming 8 versus 9 seed who gives them a real fight. And honestly, half the time in the past 15 years, they've beaten them. So I'm going to take Baylor here, and I think that Duke-Baylor game is going to go down as a classic. And this is the game that feeds March Madness's interest a lot for people like, oh, it's Duke. You don't even have to be a college basketball fan. You could just be a fan of March Madness. Oh, it's Duke. And then, they play this really sneaky Power 4 team that I know, but I don't know a lot about their program. And then boom, it's just a classic.
The classic.
We saw that with Zion and UCF. We saw that with
Paul. I'll never forget that game.
Yeah, we saw that with Kyle Filipowski and Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee was really good that year, but they weren't like Tennessee from this year.
I'll say Duke Houston for Filipowski's time. Obviously, we were on the other end as the 4th seed.
No, I'm saying Filipowski as a freshman because Cooper.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm saying like Duke has that really, really, really good with that really, really good freshman.
Yeah. All right. Well, so we're going to get to that second round game in just a moment. Now we have Oregon versus Liberty. And right off the bat, I want to say this. Liberty is 25-0 when they score more than 70 points in a game.
Yeah, and that's what they were saying on the Selection Sunday show too. Oregon
don't
score more than 72.
That was eye-opening. Yeah.
And here's the thing. Liberty's net rank is 60. As a mid-major, that's amazing.
Right.
Compared to Oregon, 29th. So Liberty's only 30 spots below. I think and let's look at Liberty. Aside from their offensive stats, what plays into that factor? The defense. Let's look. 62.9 points per game that their opponent averages against them. So that means an opponent is only scoring 63 points a game regularly against Liberty, which is
yes, of
really
course,
hard to do in today's college
yeah.
basketball. Give me Liberty.
Correct. And of course, yes, it's CUSA, but Oregon does not. I believe they don't have Kuznard anymore, right? Kuznard was last year on Oregon. He was really good. I mean, I remember watching, I think, Oregon Creighton last year. Kuznard had like 40 points, and they still came up short. It was a one-man show. So I don't know who that one man will be for Oregon this year, but that one man's going to be too small because I'm taking the Flames in the first
Yeah.
round.
And the major
Arizona
thing
Akron.
is, the major thing too, lastly about Oregon, is they had a great non-conference run, but at the same time, they're the definition of inconsistency, and that's going to be exposed by Liberty. For Arizona Akron, I got Arizona pretty soundly, but I think this will be a very good game. And for my pick personally, I think Arizona will win just because of how good Arizona's been in the last 2 months of college basketball. But I definitely see a chance where Akron wins this game.
Right. Yeah, I think I'll play it safe here and go Arizona.
Yeah, this is one of those where you probably got to play it safe, but you could definitely see the chance that there's an upset.
All right, BYU versus VCU, and yes, everybody remembers the 2011 VCU team, their legendary run. However, I do think this BYU team is really solid, so I will go with them.
Yeah. This is probably outside of the Arkansas.
I feel like I'm going to get this wrong no matter which way I go with.
The major thing is when it's a really, really hard game to pick, I try to not show my emotions for it because I just want to sound more confident in my answers. But I think this is one of those where I'm saying first round games because once you get past the Sweet 16, it's toss-ups. So, but this one is.
This one, I feel like I'm getting this wrong.
No
matter what, I'm getting this wrong.
Let me break it down from both sides. Quick brief. I'm a big Loyola fan. I watched them in the A10. VCU dominated the A10 this year. I mean, Loyola played a good game against them. They fought till the end 2 days ago on Saturday, but VCU won that game. VCU beat George Mason to get to get into March Madness, and they were already projected to be in it. And that was a great game today too. That felt like March. So, I mean, VCU is such a great team, and the major thing is that's going to expose BYU's a team that likes to shoot a lot and bait for fouls. VCU is all physical. They are roughhouse basketball. So, and BYU is a great team. Don't get me wrong. They've dominated in the Big 12 this year, but at the end of the day, I think I'm going to have to pick VCU here.
Ooh, okay. You know what? We'll go upset.
Yeah, the other thing about BYU too is that they consistently do get to the second round in the past couple of years.
All right, we'll go VCU, and now we have Wisconsin versus Montana, and I think that's got to be Wisconsin.
Yeah, I think this is a no-brainer, Wisconsin, but I'm not going to be shocked if there's an upset because
I think St. Mary's has a ton of potential in this tournament. So, I mean, with that being said, I'm taking it. I think this could be even further than just a win. I mean, I think we're also taking Alabama here as well, but that second round game might be something to watch.
Yeah. So here's the thing. St. Mary's, they lost to Gonzaga in the Western Conference championship, or in the WCC championship. So they're either going to take that two ways. They're going to take that, we've had Gonzaga's number this year in the past couple of years a little bit too, and we let them beat us this one game and that drops our seeding this low. No, we're going to destroy everyone that comes in our path. Or if they're just beat down and they lose to a very, very good Vanderbilt squad. So I'll take St. Mary's. I'll take St. Mary's for the sake of the show, since you are really high on them.
Yeah, I mean, I could also see that team, and this is kind of a
good. I think this is going to be the biggest blowout of round of 64. But again, at the same time, it's March. There could always be a chance for an upset, just like I said with the Wisconsin game. But I think from those two regions specifically, those two games will be the biggest.
This should be the fourth one seed to advance with Houston.
This will also be another big blowout. I hate saying that because I feel like I'm going to jinx it, but there's no way Morris stands a chance against Alabama or SIU Edwardsville stands a chance against Houston.
And we were actually talking about Gonzaga, Georgia before we started recording this. I actually believe in Georgia to win this game.
You know me, go Dogs, sick 'em. I'm gonna go with the other Bulldogs for this one.
Really?
I have to. I mean, Georgia lost like so embarrassingly to Oklahoma, and the major thing is what matters in March Madness. Can you hit your free throws, especially in an 8-9 match?
Right.
And
Okay.
I'm not gonna take Mark. I'm not gonna take Mark Few, the coach he is, to lose to Mike White.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it. That's a good argument. We'll go Gonzaga here. I think that's a good game though. And then I mean Clemson, I think it's going to win through this one.
I 100% agree. I think this is one of those 5-12, like, ooh, McNeese, and that manager too. You see those clips of that manager that they have?
Yeah.
The guy with the boombox, I forget his name again, but he's a vibe. I mean, everybody loves McNeese. Don't get me wrong. Everyone thought they were going to beat Gonzaga last year. It was a pretty good game. But the thing is, McNeese just draws these 5 seeds that know how to play. They're good. And Clemson's been very good in March Madness the past couple years. I mean, they made the Elite 8 last year, close to making the Final Four. Give me Clemson.
And then I do like High Point, but I'm not as high on them. Pun intended. I'm gonna go Purdue.
I think this is one of my locks for a 13-4 upset. I'm going to
Really?
take
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what?
I don't see the vision from Purdue.
Okay, yeah.
It's just cool, I guess, but
I mean,
they're
Purdue
not.
has lost in this fashion.
They're not Purdue that can shoot. They're just Purdue. Like, they are not lights out shooting this year.
All right. I
mean,
see. I'm rooting for High Point being a Carolina team.
in order to be like as good as they were the past couple years, to make up from Zach Edey's production, they have to be a Purdue team that can shoot the lights out. They just have not been that this year. They've been good, just haven't been able to shoot the lights out.
Illinois versus either Texas or Xavier. Either way, I'm going to go Illinois.
I really like Texas to win here. I think in my actual bracket, I'd pick them, but for the sake of it, I got Illinois. But I just love Texas.
Yeah, that's something to look for then. That is something.
I definitely think Texas can make the Sweet 16. I think they could beat. I think Kentucky beats Troy here. But again, this is 100% one of those games where I see an upset. I mean, Kentucky, knowing the history they have in the past 5 years,
I've been hearing a lot of hype on Utah State right here against UCLA. I don't know if you want to buy into it, but
here's the thing. UCLA lost in embarrassing fashion by 11 to Wisconsin in the Big Ten tourney. But at the same time, Wisconsin's also a very good team. And UCLA did get that top 4 bye in the Big Ten tourney this year. So I'm going to take UCLA for this.
Yeah, let's stay safe then. Let's go UCLA. And then Tennessee, Wofford. I think that's got to be Tennessee. Still very, very good team.
Give me Wofford.
All right. Really? Hey, if it happens, it happens.
You know what's the funniest thing? In my actual bracket, I picked St. Peter's to beat Tennessee last year. Like, I did it as a joke originally. I'm like, wait, what if it happens? Because it's like Rick Barnes. And then Tennessee just like, then they make like the Elite 8, like, some slight.
All right, well, let's get to the second round. We're going to try and get past this a little bit faster. So we have Auburn versus Louisville. I think we were making the argument of Louisville possibly pulling this off. I still think Auburn's really good this time. They're still a really good team. Like, we forget
if there's one 8 seed in this bracket to knock off Auburn, it's definitely Louisville, where they could just expose them shooting wise, and especially if Chad Baker, Mazzara, and big game Todd Pettiford don't show up, really.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to bet against Auburn, and especially considering that factor, like the amount of craziness and clutch genes that Chad Baker, Mazzara, and Todd Pettiford have in their veins is crazy. So it is hard to pick against Auburn. Take Auburn.
Really, really good. And then we'll go, Michigan.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, Iowa State. It's an interesting one.
Oh my God. This really depends on if Taman Lipsy and if Keyshawn Gilbert are healthy by this time. And that's the thing that sucks about March Madness, that we won't be able to know that until like the time comes. Right. So, but even for I think Iowa State could definitely beat beat the living crap out of Ole Miss if they have both those guys. And considering the fact Curtis Jones almost dropped 40 against BYU, I'm going to go Ole Miss, though. I think they could be a really sneaky team in the South region. They just put up great fights against big teams. They beat Alabama this year. They almost beat Auburn last week. And they almost beat Auburn in the SEC tourney. Like, Ole Miss is a very good team.
You go Ole Miss, and now we have New Mexico, Michigan State. I'm going to go with the Spartans. They're still a really good team as well.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I know about Tom Izzo is he usually makes the Sweet 16 bare minimum. So,
all right, we now go to the West region. Florida, UConn. I think this will be a fun game ratings-wise, but Florida gets it done. Still a very, very good team.
Yeah, give me Florida by far.
And then I'm going to go Memphis over Maryland here at the 4-5.
Oh, I see it. I agree with that. I actually agree with that.
I know you infamously remember, I think it's still on this channel, that argument we had about Memphis versus FAU.
Oh my God, that was a great argument. I
was so upset with myself because I could have picked FAU and I could have been correct. Like, I would have been knocked it out of the park. I think
that actual argument in my real-time bracket, I think I actually didn't. I think I picked Memphis as well. So
yeah,
and but yeah, that was a legendary argument. That wasn't even I didn't even go crazy in that one compared to my Marquette spiel.
Yeah, you really like Marquette at once. That's what Shaka Smart does to you. So Florida, Memphis, and then does Drake get to the Sweet 16 or does it die?
No. I see it.
Cinderella team.
I see it, but come on, Texas Tech is so good this year.
Yes, they are, but it's March and we need that team.
We do, but Texas Tech is not. Texas Tech just does not feel like the team that would lose that game. They're just talented overall. Texas Tech is. I think in my actual bracket, if things sway, I genuinely might pick Texas Tech to win it all, or not win it all, to make the Final Four. Okay, or no, not Final, maybe not Final Four because Florida's in that side, but maybe if I'm feeling something I don't know.
We'll go Texas Tech over Dream. The Dream dies there.
Kansas St. John's.
This is St. John's.
By far. Yeah.
So now we'll move to the East. This will be a fun game. We talked about this might be a classic. I still think we come out on top, but this will be a fun game.
I agree, but I think this is definitely one of the more games that I think is realistically going to happen of games that are more controversial to pick, 8, 9, 5, 12.
I think, I'm pretty confident.
10. I'm confident in that game, and I'm also confident in the outcome that it's going to depend whether how much health Cooper Flagg has on him, if he's 100%, 90%, 80%, 70%, blah, 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 blah.
And I think I'll go Arizona over Liberty. I do think, unless you see some, we just brought up Liberty as that height team. I think
this is the mid-major that makes it to the Sweet 16.
This is the team. Okay.
Well, okay, VCU is...
I think it's Liberty.
Yeah, give me Liberty.
All right.
Let's big game Caleb Love strikes again with another choke.
And then now Wisconsin's such a good team.
Exactly. That's the thing. VCU's so good, but Wisconsin's also so good.
And then this was a game I was actually thinking Bama might lose.
John Tonje's going to feast against VCU. We'll go again. My bad.
I have this feeling that Bama's going to lose this game.
I do too, but Bama does that to you every year, and then they just proceed to go to the Elite Eight Final Four. I was like, hey, Alabama might lose to Charleston Southern this year.
I did.
Let me pick that. I
always think Alabama's going to lose. Yeah.
Boom, makes the Final Four.
All right. Houston over Gonzaga. Definitely.
Houston. Come on. Gonzaga is not
Clemson's
that.
Clemson's my sleeper team. And
Clemson for sure. Yeah.
All right. And then I will go Kentucky over Illinois.
Nah.
Really?
Because I said, I think this actually is going to be Texas versus Kentucky, and I think Texas beats Kentucky here.
Oh, that's true. So
but, actually, for the sake of this bracket, since it's Illinois, Kentucky, give me Kentucky.
Okay, yeah.
But these are the definition of the two chokers in March Madness.
And then now Tennessee, UCLA. This is still Tennessee.
Yeah.
All right. So now we get to the Sweet 16. We have Auburn versus Michigan.
Give me Auburn pretty
This
soundly
could
here.
be the upset, but I still think Auburn's really, really good. So
I don't think Michigan's that good. I think Michigan just rides high when they're doing well.
Now, does Ole Miss upset Michigan State here?
Oh, this is a tough game to pick.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Because I see a world where both of them win.
I do too. Here's the thing though, for the sake of the bracket, for the sake of just entertainment purely, I love Sean Padula, man. He is so ridiculously out of this world good. Pardon my glaze, but like, come on, give me Ole Miss.
All right, we'll go with the Rebels. They're in the Elite Eight with the
In my
chance to go to
actual
the
bracket,
Final
I'm probably picking different.
I would be so happy if we didn't have to play Arizona again and Liberty gets it done, because I'm not saying this will be a pure cakewalk, but it will set us up for our Elite Eight games. So I'm going to go, obviously, with us and Liberty. And then Alabama, Wisconsin. This is going to be one of the most fun Sweet 16 games in March Madness.
Oh yeah, 100%. This game might end. Hold on, I'm trying to find a charger spot.
I'm personally going to take Wisconsin, though.
Yeah. I'm taking Alabama, but what I was gonna say is this game could definitely end like 103 to 102. Like it could be that type of like crazy electric offensively. But Alabama's offense, when they're just, I mean, they are way more consistent now. But when Alabama's on, they're a different level.
All right, we will go with Bama then. We will Bama. I think this is an upset. This is my upset. I think Clemson's legit. I truly think Clemson's legit. And maybe I have the scars from losing to them this year.
Yeah.
But I think Clemson's legit.
I respect it, but I'm going to take Houston here.
I think for the sake of this argument, though, we will take Houston.
No, you could take Clemson. It's your show.
Okay.
It's your show.
All right, we'll go Clemson. Kentucky, Tennessee.
Wait, hold on. Did we take Wisconsin or Bama?
We took Bama. I actually said Wisconsin.
Take Wisconsin. It's your show,
Okay.
man.
All right.
All right.
All right, and then Kentucky, Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen this matchup before. That's a lot of orange. All right. Now we get. Oh, we forgot to do.
Florida.
Florida and St. John's. Sure. Ooh, Texas Tech though.
This is the hardest game to pick. This is going to be the hardest possible. Oh my god.
I'm going Texas Tech.
This is like, I don't like to look at stats really like while making my bracket. I like to look at them right before I make my picks and like afterwards and put conference tournament to play. But this is one of those games where I'm 100% looking at. I'm looking at the stats right now, actually, as a matter of fact. Let's look at it. This is a really hard one to pick. Because here's the thing. St. John's has the guard play from RJ Lewis, but they also have the big man play from Zuby Ejiofor. But then Texas Tech also has JT Toppin, who could just stretch the floor in general. So here, let's look at the stats. Texas Tech, they have the 7th net ranking. They're 1-4 against the top 25, though. That's the thing that holds them back. But also 58th strength of schedule. But they're also averaging 81 a game. And they're only allowing 68. So, and St. John's, on the other hand, 13th net ranking. So they're roughly around the same category that wise. But they are 5-1 versus the top 25. Granted, that's inflated from the Big East. 80 points a game, allowing 66. 48th strength of schedule. Let's take the Johnnies.
All right.
So
now we have the Elite Eight set. The winner heads to San Antonio. First, we have Auburn, Ole Miss, and I gotta take Auburn. Auburn's so good. I know they've struggled these last few games, but Auburn's still really good.
Yeah, I think in my actual bracket I could pick Ole Miss, but yeah, give me Auburn.
And then we have Florida, St. John's. I think this will be a really fun game. It's still Florida. It's that team.
Yeah, for sure.
So
the more I look at it, the more I'm saying, yeah, Florida's going to win it all.
And then a rematch of the 2015 national championship. I honestly, as a Duke fan, I am kind of worried about this game. I'll be honest with you. I
would be too. Wisconsin's going to be like, we said this about them last year, but then they were like playing JMU and they're like, ooh, Wisconsin could lose to JMU. And what did they do? They did exactly that. But also, we could have had Duke, Wisconsin last year. I just remember that. We almost had that last year. So this is like Duke, Wisconsin last year, but on on medicine for the sake of the show. This is like Duke and Wisconsin last year, but on medicine.
I mean, I still think we win.
Or this is like Duke and Wisconsin, but on PEDs. So this is going to be an electric.
This would be a good game, though. I'm sure we'll take us.
Yeah, we'll take Duke. I mean, it's Sports Talk with Krish. Sports Talk with Krish is currently wearing a Duke shirt right now. Let's take Duke.
Clemson, man. I don't know what it is. I just think this team's so legit.
Let's take him. I don't see it, but let's take him.
I do this so legit. And then this is the final. Actually, I had this, I think, exact Final Four in my bracket.
A true ACC lover's Final Four.
Somehow got 2 ACC teams in here. You know how it's seen. And that means one will go to the national championship. So, Auburn, Florida. What do you got?
Florida, man. I gotta.
I agree. No, I agree. I think Florida is the better team.
It's just at the moment in time, Florida's the best team.
Florida advances to the national championship. Duke, Clemson. I think.
Let's take Clemson. Let's take Clemson.
Nah, bro, give it up. And I'm gonna be so honest with you. I don't know if we win this game.
Do you actually think it's gonna realistically happen, bracket-wise? Did you actually pick that in your real bracket or no?
Yes, I did. I had Duke, Florida in the national championship.
Did you pick Duke, Krish? Did you pick? Oh yeah, you did because you said 2, 3 1s and a 5.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Honestly,
I genuinely might.
I would be freaking out for the next 3 hours, 3 hours watching this game. Like high blood pressure. I don't know what would happen. This is. If this is the national, this or Duke Auburn is going to be like a classic national championship. I can feel
100%. I think for the sake of the show, we take Duke, but I genuinely think Florida wins this game 9 out of 10 times.
All right, 9 out of, then let's go Florida. I mean, I still think Florida might be the better team. I don't know with Cooper Flag's situation.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the mystery right now.
I don't, and if Cooper Flag's not what we need him to be, then I said it before. I don't think we can win the national championship if Cooper Flag is not what he needs to be. So we'll take Florida over Duke in the national championship, and a final score. I think this is gonna be a high scoring game. I think it will. Somewhere probably in the 70s. I don't know about the 80s. That's a little too steep for me. I would say something like a 77 to 71.
Yeah, I was gonna say 77, 72. So yeah.
All right, boom. We'll finish that.
I like it. All right.
I like that one. So
let's do a little spin-off now. We should do top 5 player. Who we think the top 5 players in the tournament will be.
Okay. Yeah. Who are you
like thinking? Overall, like Jack Golke, like top, like we could like put like mid majors who would just pop off in those first 2 games. All right. I'm gonna say, speaking of which, mid majors, I think I'm actually gonna go with that Yale guy. The Jewish or the Greek guy, John Poulakidis. Give me him as a top 5. Naturally take Janai Broom and Cooper Flag. Check mark that off the list.
Right, that's 3 right there.
So that's 3 and 4. Give me Chaz Lanier. I think Chaz Lanier is going to be a dog in the tournament.
I agree.
Then I'm stuck between JT Toppin and Zuby Ejiofor, but I think RJ Lewis is going to be the biggest piece for St. John's this tournament. So I'll take JT Toppin as my 5.
Okay, I like your list.
All right. What about you?
For me, let me think here. I think Cooper Flag is healthy, of course. That's got to be one.
Yeah, and then naturally just check off Janai Broom.
I naturally check off Broom. Anything for you. So that's 2 right there. I think I'm gonna check off Pettiford as well. I like that. I don't want to take 2 Auburn players, but Pettiford is just, he went crazy at Cameron. He's, like you said, very clutch player. I have to take Pettiford.
You want to take a mid-major player or no?
I'm thinking right now if I do want to take one.
Just go on Real and go to like one of the teams. That's what I did.
You know what I'm gonna do? I don't think we had. We think we had High Point winning in the.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Bobby Pettiford. It's a different Pettiford. I'm gonna say Bobby Pettiford on High Point. Bobby Pettiford, and the reason I'm saying this, and this is top tier glaze. Bobby Pettiford went to East Carolina for 3 years and transferred to High Point this season. They're finally in March Madness.
What
And
conference are they again?
Purely based off High Point is.
It's fine. I'll just look up Bobby Pettiford.
Yeah.
I want to see his stats.
I just purely off of this is top tier glaze. Purely off of
9 points a game, bro. You're picking him as top.
pure glaze.
I at least picked a guy who's averaging 19 that could realistically drop 30 and then drop 30 again.
Bobby Pettiford, man. I'm taking. Hey, shooting 59% from the field. That's a dog.
Okay, yeah.
59%.
42% from 3. Okay.
Yeah, see, okay. Just let him get in the game. If he gets hot, it's GG's. So Bobby Pettiford, so that's 4 right there. And then let me think of one more. I'm gonna go with the former Owl. I'm gonna go with the big boy Vlad. I'm gonna go with him. I'm gonna go with that big boy, man. I think him, Michigan, he proved it. He proved, especially I think that Big Ten championship. I didn't get to watch much of the game, but I think he played a really solid game.
Vladislav Golden, yeah.
Yeah, I think I have to go with my guy Vlad from FAU. So that's gonna be my 5 players, and that's gonna wrap it up. Thank y'all for listening. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Marcus, I appreciate you joining, and we'll see you all next one.
See y'all later.